Well, Taiwan has unveiled its most advanced fighter jet in a rare demonstration of retaliation against China. Military in the capital of Taipei has been carrying out drills to simulate defence against an invasion by China and have been seen loading a jet with an anti-ship missile. Joining us from Washington, D.C. now is a senior advisor at the Centre for Strategic and International Studies, Mark Cancian. Mark, good morning. Good to see you. Thanks for your time this morning. So tell us about this equipment and these jets and what sort of difference they can make against the might of China.
Well, this is Taiwan's response to the Chinese exercises of last week. China, of course, launched a large series of exercises in response to Speaker Pelosi's visit. Taiwan is showing that it has military capability of its own and can defend the island. This aircraft is quite sophisticated. And the important thing is the anti-ship missiles. The Chinese would be invading the island with amphibious ships, and the Taiwanese would need to attack that shipping. These anti-ship missiles would be very effective in that role, and that would, Taiwan hopes, give China some pause before they launch any military operation.
I mean, it's not really, though, is it? I mean, as the foreign ministry spokesman of China said last week, any attack on China would be like an ant trying to shake a tree.
Well, Taiwan wouldn't be taking on all of China. What they would be doing is taking on the Chinese amphibious ships that would be in the straits there. Those ships would be quite vulnerable. And the point Taiwan wants to make is that although China has a lot of military power, delivering that power onto the island of Taiwan would be very dangerous.
Yeah, it's not just the ships, though, is it, that China's got? It's everything else behind it.
They do. They have a powerful air force. They have a powerful navy. The Chinese have been building military capability for several decades. They now have one of the premier militaries in the world.
How do you expect it, being China, to take Taiwan? Because it does seem like that's an inevitability.
Well, there are a couple of routes that the Chinese could take. Some people look at blockades, that China's military exercises seem to imply that by firing missiles around the island. There's also a possibility of a direct military assault. Here at CSIS, we have a project that looked at a Chinese invasion of Taiwan and the prospects for that invasion. The good news is that under most scenarios, the United States, Taiwan, and often Japan were able to repel the Chinese invasion. The bad news is this came at very high military cost and devastation to the Taiwanese economy.
Mark, there's been a second suspected Ukrainian attack on Russian forces in the Crimean Peninsula in recent days. What are your thoughts on what's taken place there?
Well, Ukraine has certainly shown that it can strike at some distance deep into Russian territory. A couple of days ago, there was the strike against the airfield. A number of Russian aircraft were knocked out, and there were several huge explosions. There were additional attacks the other day. Where they're coming from is a little up in the air. The Ukrainians imply that there's special forces. That's possible. It's possible that there are missiles or aircraft. It's something of a mystery.
It's kind of fallen away from the headlines, at least it has here from a bit. Just these sorts of things tend to happen when wars drag on. Where do you think it's at the moment? Who's winning it?
Well, right now we're in a stalemate. The front lines have not moved very much in at least a month. The Russians are conducting small attacks in the east, but they've pretty much petered out. They've lost a lot of people. Their combat strength is way down. Everyone is expecting a counteroffensive by the Ukrainians. There's been a lot of talk about that being around Kherson in the southwest.
Yeah.
We'll see if that actually develops. Counteroffensives are much more difficult in defense, though they may be difficult for Ukraine to pull off.
Okay, Mark Cancian, thanks for your time this morning.